Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Nigel from the Norfolk Fishing Channel. Today I'm just going to show you how I do a rig. I'm just going to make up a 3-up clip down rig with a bottom. I'm going to go through it, show you everything you're going to need to make the rig and how I go about doing it. Now, first thing, the rig body. I'm just using, I'm not promoting it or anything like that, Kyoki iCast 70 lb clear. And I've already cut this and measured it out. It's basically 1 arm span, which is 5.5 foot for me, which is perfect. You're going to need .21mm rolling barrel swivel. You're going to need 2 quick links. Again, 21mm. I'm going to put the swivel onto one of these eyes at the minute. That's going to be for the weight at the bottom. You're going to need 3 size 8 or 10 75 lb barrel swivels, 6 crimps, 6 beads, luminous beads, or any beads really, 3 of the bait holder sort of style clips. When I do it, I tie the quick link on first at the top, because in my rigs I have the swivel connected to the shock leader, because it's easier. I've explained it in other videos. It's easier to clip on and off. I've never had any rigs lost. And then the swivel end will go at the bottom again for the lead, and that'll just keep everything stop everything from twisting up. So just going to do a simple, never had any problems with it, 7-turn tuck top lug knot. Always wet your line. Pull that down. I was going to get a hook tire, a hook puller for that. Okay, then what I do, once your top clip is on, I put everything I'm going to need for the rig on the line now, and then I'll sort the spacing out later on. So you're going to need, I've got these 21mm crimps, so you're going to obviously need a crimp. A proper pair of scissors would help. There you go, crimp. Bead. Swivel. Bead and crimp. But we'll sort all the spacing out later on. But then again, what you have to remember as well, so that's going to be 1 snood, is how you're going to clip it down. So and also when you put these clips on, you've got to remember whether it's clipped up or clipped down. If your hook is hanging down the rig, so your hook will be like that, your clip has got to go the opposite way, so that hook's on. So that'll have to go on the rig with the bend pointing up the rig. You'll see in a minute. So I've got 3 of these bits of silicone, just short of the shank. Okay. So you're going to have to gently just moisten this. This is the trickiest bit. Just to push this on. I always just wet the shank. And then when you push this on, you'll try and make sure the line is at the back. So you'll twist that so it's at the back of the shank. And it's quite difficult. You know, I normally use my palm of my hand. Don't go push it with this, because if it goes through, the end will go straight into your thumb or your hand. But it's got to be tight. It's tight for a reason, obviously. And I'll show you a little trick that I do, because I have found before that just doing it like this, if you've got a lot of tide or you're casting it hard, this can just get ripped off. But I bend the end over. I'll show you later on. And for now, I'm just going to, once it's through, you can get your thumbnail or finger. Alright. I'll just twist that. That's perfect. So basically now, once we, obviously it's not going to be there, but down a bit, we'll measure out the length of the hook length you want. We lock the crimps in place, and then the hook will go under there. And basically it's a case of now repeating this process another 2 times before we lock anything down and get the spacings bang on before we lock anything down. So we've got 3 of these bits of silicone, just short of the shank. I always just wet the shank. And then when you push this on, you'll try and make sure the line is at the back. So you'll twist that so it's at the back of the shank. And it's quite difficult. You know, I normally use my palm of my hand. Don't go push it with this, because if it goes through, the end will go straight into your thumb or your hand. But it's got to be tight. It's tight for a reason, obviously. And I'll show you a little trick that I do, because I have found before that just doing it like this, if you've got a lot of tide or you're casting it hard, this can just get ripped off. But I bend the end over. I'll show you later on. And for now, I'm just going to, once it's through, you can get your thumbnail or finger. Alright. I'll just twist that. That's perfect. So basically now, once we, obviously it's not going to be there, but down a bit, we'll measure out the length of the hook length you want. We lock the crimps in place, and then the hook will go under there. And basically it's a case of now repeating this process another 2 times before we lock anything down and get the spacings bang on before we lock anything down. Okay, that's everything on the rig. Now I've just opened up the other clip link, just ever so slightly, just enough to put the swivel on. And it's going to crush this back down and straighten the eye. I'd say crush it right down. I'll slightly overlap it and just make sure that's nice and straight. Just make sure that swivel cannot get out of there. That's slightly overlapped now. Now it's just a case of tying the bottom swivel on. We'll do that now. Okay, that's nicely tied on. So that's the whole rig now finished. Well, not finished, but assembled. Just need to put the hook links on now. So you've got top clip, goes onto your shock leader. Your booms, your clips. So if this is 5.5 foot, we'll try and measure this out in equal distances. So once again, crimp, bead, swivel, bead and crimp. and that's it. Now we just need to tie the hook links on. The way I do it is it's a lot easier to judge. So tie the hook on first, and then I'll adjust the length of the hook length to tie it just a little bit short. We want about 1 centimetre short of the clip. But what I'm going to do now is, like I said before, this can have a tendency to just pull out. So I bend the end of these clips over, and then I do a half hitch of line so it locks itself in place. I'll show you that. I'll do the top one first. Just going to push this plastic down as far as I can get it. Bend that line out of the way. Go to the top of the sleeve. Start bending it back on itself like that. A bit more. Just keep bending it. You don't want to crimp this down all the way, just a little bit at a time. There we go. So you want to get it to about that stage. And you just need to do a half hitch. So make it quite big, and then just pass the loop all the way through. I've not seen everybody else do this. This is my little invention, and just make sure that half hitch goes over the eye like that, and then pull it down. And once that's locked in place, you can get the pliers and just bend that flat. Watch your hands. And there you go. Just gently. And that's done. There's no way in the world now that can possibly pull out. Just measure these out. I've left about 6 inches at the top, so it's not going to tangle around the top. And it's about 1.5 foot for the whole rig, or 1.5 foot for each hook length. So that's the one. I've just nipped it down. I'm not going crazy tight with the crimp, so just nipped it down to feel, when you feel it clunk. That's one. Again, if you want to leave about 2 inches, 2 to 3 inches from the bottom of the hook, because you don't want them detaching and tangling around each other. Just get your crimp, just push, don't actually crush the death out of it. I know it's £70 line, but that's it, just enough. Just want enough so it's not going to slide up and down, but just enough of that swivel to keep rotating. You don't want it too tight. So that's perfect. And again, once this is in place, just measure out 1.5 feet, which is perfect. Okay, for the hook lengths, I'm just using my good old favourite Floramax Special. It's £25. It's really soft, supple. It's got brilliant abrasion resistance. Again, I'm just going to be doing the trusty old 7-turn tucked half blood. It's super thin, this line, really strong. Got a nice bit of stretch as well. Just pull that down nice and tight. And what I do, you can put another bead on if you want, you don't have to. We'll leave it for today. I'm just going to get one of these rubber float sleeves, pass a line through the eye. Or in fact we'll use one of these, they're a lot tighter. Pass your line through the eye, just bend it over and hold it, and then slide it over. These are on a thick piece of mono, and then just slide that over the line. And now it's just a case for 5. There's plenty. I never had one come off. Every time it come off, it gets snagged or pull that over tight. And that's like that. Okay, this is the finished rig. So you've got your clip. I'll show you over there in a minute. I'll hang it up because this is the reason why it's best not to lock down the crimps straight away, because it takes a bit of fine adjustment to get the hook link bang on. You want it, as I say, about a centimetre short. It doesn't want to be level, doesn't want to be too short because it puts too much pressure, it won't just detach. So each one is locked in. It's nice and streamlined. And what I've also done is I've done a half hitch at the top of the clip as well. So you've got one on the bottom and one on the top. That's all locked in place. And then basically you cast in your rigs, all come loose. It's on a swivel, so it'll just sort itself out. And that's it. Quick, simple. Well, it's not quick and simple. And that's the finished rig. It takes a little bit of time and practice and getting everything right, but once you do, it just enables you to, these hooks are sharp. Yeah, and that's the finished rig. It's streamlined. It's good if you want casting worms or you want to get their distance. You put a bit of teddy. If you're beach fishing, you're casting the long distances. Soft baits like worm and mackerel and herring and that's not going to get ripped off the hook. Keeps it nice and streamlined. It takes a little bit of practice to get everything bang on and bang, right. As I say, when you put the crimps on, don't lock them. Just gently nip them. Just allow a bit of adjustment. When you tie the hook length, I tie the hook on first. Then I can sort of like see on the rig body where it's going to be. It actually, you have to take into account as well. When you're doing the knot, if you're doing like 7 turns, and when you pull the knot, that also stretches it. So when you initially do it, you want to be about, I've just measured it, 2 inches, 2 to 2.5 inches short of the clip. Because when you tighten that knot down, that'll pull down. So it takes a little bit of fine adjustment to get it right, but about 2 to 2.5 inches. And as you pull the knot tight, that'll lengthen it as well. And then, as I say, if you don't lock the crimps in place, then you can just fine adjustment. If it's a bit too long, you can just pull it a bit shorter. If it's a bit short, you can just pull it down half an inch or so, and just till it's bang on. And that's it. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope there's a good tip there for you. Give it a go. If there's any sort of tips, or if there's any questions, just drop them. Drop them down below. Or if you've got any, this is just my way of doing it. This is the way I found it never fails for me. I don't have any of the clips coming off. As I say, I watched a few videos, and if you don't lock these clips in place, it's only a bit of plastic, and when you're fishing 25, 30, 40 pound hook lengths and 6 ounce, 7 ounce leads, that just gets ripped off within 2 or 3 casts. My rig was useless. So I came home, scratched my head, came up with this idea. I've never seen anybody else do it, and it's a brilliant rig, especially if it's windy or you want to cast distances. And once you get to know how to do it, it takes 10 minutes. So you can have 2 or 3 of them all rigged up in your box, ready to go. Alright, all the best guys. I'll see you again in another video. Take care.